Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. It appears that the Where is Wendy documentary that aired on Lifetime this Saturday and Sunday has divided the nation because everybody seems to have their own opinion on it. For example, Al Reynolds thinks that Wendy Williams is a mastermind that has drummed up this documentary in order to set herself up for a surprise comeback. Charlemagne the God, who was once Wendy's protege, thinks the documentary was an exploitive piece of trash that should have never been aired. His co-host Jess Hilarious believes that the documentary served no purpose and it made everybody, including the family, look bad. Dr. Umar thinks that Wendy Williams does not have dementia and that she's been given a Hollywood cocktail. And Armand Wiggins thinks that the documentary was an ingenious plan devised by Wendy Williams herself to expose New York City's guardianship system. Peep what each one of them had to say.
I think, being a person that's been in this industry who's managed a talent at the level of a Wendy, not as big, but as influential, as well as just being a brand manager, I'm going to take a different perspective. From the very beginning, you guys know that I was like, what in the heck is going on? This is heartbreaking. It's sad to watch. This is horrible. Why would anybody do this? I was very prepared to come on this show and be upset and point the fingers at Lifetime executives who should have never signed off on anything related to showing Wendy Williams in this light. But then I really started to think about it, and we have to give Wendy credit for what Wendy is good at. Wendy is a mastermind of television and storytelling. That's why she's so great. I think, and I don't know if this is a long shot or not, but I think this is a setup to one of entertainment's largest comebacks. If Wendy Williams ever gets the help, support, and rehab that she needs and comes back to television, by television taking her to her absolutely bottom, airing out her absolutely worst sides that we ever would want to see or hear, and then watch her come back healthy and doing television or podcast again, the reward from that is going to be the largest and the best we've ever seen in the business.
Everybody is responsible.
It felt so sad,
and by the way, the network too.
Wendy Williams diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. I don't agree. They gave her the pills. Wendy Williams was a sacrifice. Wendy Williams was a sacrifice. I don't believe that. Wendy Williams was a sacrifice. Ain't no way in hell you gonna tell me that she got dementia and aphasia. She only 59 years old. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that. Wendy Williams ain't got no damn dementia and aphasia. They gave her the Hollywood cocktail. They slipped her a Mickey. Ain't no way in hell she got no dementia and no aphasia. Aphasia is when you can't articulate yourself verbally. Aphasia is when you have trouble comprehending what you hear and what you read. Dementia is a loss of brain functioning in at least two major areas: judgment, balance, speech, reason, emotion. She might be, I hope she's not mentally brain dead. I hope Wendy Williams isn't mentally brain dead. I hope Wendy Williams isn't mentally brain dead. Has anybody seen Wendy? Has anybody seen Wendy? Somebody got to go check on her. Because if she's dementia and aphasia, she might can't talk for herself. If Wendy Williams has dementia and aphasia, she probably cannot talk for herself. If Wendy Williams has dementia and aphasia, she probably cannot talk, brothers and sisters. She probably can't talk. Stay away from them Hollywood demons.
I love the way that they wrap this whole thing up, because I was trying to figure out, is this going to leave off on Wendy Williams is just a mess? Because I couldn't figure out why the hell would she sign off on that? This is not a great look for her. But it makes sense. They're not exploiting me. But the public needs to know. This is what I look like under this guardianship. This is not helping me. So the family's not exploiting me. Will was not exploiting me. We were doing a number on this guardian. We're gagging the system, and we're gonna go back to court and we're gonna say, look, did you see the documentary? Did you see how erratic she was? Did you see she was drinking every day? Did you see she was out of her mind? Did you see they hired a publicist that came in and asked her, did she want to go to the Oscars? Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Somebody in the comments said Will is working with the Guardian. No. I don't feel like Will is working with the Guardian at all. I feel like he's playing his role with the Guardian, because the Guardian is, Will is the only one that the Guardian is allowing access to Wendy, to and fro, her whereabouts, phone call. So he has to play that middle role. But the documentary is over. We've shown what we need to show. That last piece of the documentary wrapped that all nice up for me in a bow. Because then it made sense of, okay, this is what's happening here.
Yo, it's amazing how we can all look at the same exact thing and walk away seeing something totally different. But all of these different opinions on the movie did make me start wondering something. When talking about Wendy in the movie, Kevin Jr. said, I think they said that it was alcohol-induced dementia, with the operative word being think.
So I think they said it was alcohol-induced dementia.
Let me ask you something. If you take your mom to the doctor and they tell you that she has cancer or AIDS, are you going to say, I think the doctor said my mom has cancer? Or I think the doctor said my mom has AIDS? No, because not only do you know what the doctors told you, but if you supposedly were like helping Wendy get treatment from 2021 on, you would know exactly what her diagnosis is, which has me wondering, who told you that Wendy Williams has alcohol-induced dementia? Was it the court-appointed doctors? Or was it Wendy's own doctors? Because if it was the court-appointed doctors who were in cahoots with the courts and Lori Schiller, you can't trust that diagnosis, and you might want to get a second opinion, because for all you know, Wendy Williams might be sitting over there with Lyme disease or some other thyroid disease which can mimic dementia. And I'm saying this because Wendy's brother Tommy just recently did an interview in which he said, when I speak to Wendy, she sounds fine. Wendy has improved. I know my sister from where she was to where she is now, and she has a substantial amount of improvement. It's dialogue, conversation, topics, content, speech pattern, everything. Now, I don't agree with Dr. Umar when he says that Wendy Williams got hit with that Hollywood cocktail, but I do agree with the fact that dementia and aphasia don't turn on and off like a light switch. So, if Wendy's brother Tommy is in fact telling the truth and Wendy is making significant improvements, the family might want to go get a second or third opinion outside of the courts, because I'm telling you, something ain't adding up. But while we're talking about Wendy, the other day a worker from Wells Fargo called into the Kempire channel and actually spilled some behind the scenes tea about what really happened with Wells Fargo and Wendy. Check this out.
I've worked for Wells Fargo Advisors before in a marketing capacity, and as she said, anybody who works in the institution, we're all trained about clarity, intention, and duress. So there's a little tidbit that people haven't, I don't think that they realize. What happened was Kevin Jr., when he was in Florida with Wendy, they went to the Wells Fargo bank. And if you don't realize, there's a differentiation between the bank and the financial advisor side, which is the brokerage side. They went into a commercial bank, and she was accompanied by Junior and Kevin Sr.'s attorney.
Yes, I remember
the
that.
Former female attorney. And at that bank, she was trying to conduct a financial brokerage transaction, which they cannot do. So the protocol is that they call her wealth manager, and then they need to speak with her to verify clarity of mind, intention of the transaction she was trying to conduct, and then are you under duress? When they attempted to have her come in to speak to the wealth manager, she didn't want to go in alone. The two people wanted to come in, which is not the protocol. I'm just going to wrap up. She was by herself, and when she went in alone to talk to the attorney, He said, what are you trying to do? What's going on? And she had apparently been going to banks in New York with nefarious people. If you ever saw the Fat Joe interview, a bunch of hoodlums and stuff at her house, she was going to the bank herself. So when he couldn't verify the clarity and she said, I'm with my attorney, he said, what attorney is with you? When she stated who the attorney is, Wendy had previously fired that attorney that was associated with Kevin Hunter. So right away,
the same attorney that recently posted on social media the video.
Exactly. So that was why the account was immediately flagged, and then they conducted an audit, and they had an agreement that Kevin had an account that was connected to Wendy's account, and as you said, he had a certain amount of money he was allowed to spend. She paid his tuition, she paid his living expenses. He went above that and was starting to make transactions that were going to go into her account they needed approval for. And when they conducted an audit, Kevin Jr. and Kevin Sr., all I'm going to say is that there was monies, so you cannot really, basically, when you heard in the documentary, the sister said they conducted an investigation of the entire family. So what I'm saying is that Kevin is out because even when he was younger, he might have been irresponsible and not knowing what to do, what was going to happen to his mother. He might have been influenced by Kevin Sr., and monies apparently were going to Senior and other members, and that was considered a member of the family. That woman was not her attorney. So Wells Fargo locked up her accounts to safeguard, because the other transactions that people that I know in Wells Fargo, they said that she was going to the bank, and to the point where she was giving people money cash, taking out the daily max, and then they started using her credit card, as you heard her other manager did. So she was being fed by both sides. And the last thing, because I'm in marketing communications, is that Will and his girlfriend and those fake manager people, what they're doing is pimping Wendy out. They call, she places a story, and then he calls the paparazzi. And remember when she came out of the gym, the cameras were right there? That is how they're making cash off of Wendy daily. They need her to get up, to get out, and pretend to go places, pretend to do things. And when she shows up at locations, they get paid cash.
Oh my goodness, Wendy Williams is just surrounded by a bunch of vultures, including her guardian, because Sabrina Morrissey has been accused of robbing one of her other clients and is now facing a $30 million lawsuit. The case was opened in 2022, shortly after her law firm took charge of Wendy's finances. According to sources, the lawsuit claims that Sabrina and her cronies over there at Morrissey & Morrissey LP put a man named Jose Verdugo under guardianship after he won a $5.5 million personal injury claim. And over time, they charged him substantial fees and ultimately siphoned away the bulk load of his money by spending over $1 million of his money without his consent. The case also alleges that doctors' records show that Jose had the mental capacity to fully handle his own finances for over a decade. However, the guardians and attorneys, including Sabrina, did everything they could do to keep the conservatorship going for their own personal gain. Listen, this is a mess, and they really do need to get Wendy away from this chick with the quickness, because this right here is a white collar hustle if I ever saw one. Because how in the world are you supposed to be Wendy Williams' guardian and you got her stashed away all the way in California and you're based in New York? That's like me becoming a foster parent, and after the state gives me the kids, I send them to live with the neighbors. I mean, really? You can't tell me that there was no adequate facility that could care for Wendy in New York. I bet you this chick Sabrina Morrissey is probably the guardian of like 40-50 people who she has stashed away in every state, including the non-contiguous states of Alaska and Hawaii, while she's sitting over there in New York collecting checks. Additionally, the judge overseeing Wendy Williams' guardianship was once investigated for awarding guardianships to people donating to her Supreme Court election fund. Oh my goodness, this right here is jacked up. But you know what else is jacked up? Have you guys seen this doll? It's called the Walmart Sister Doll, and she comes complete with watermelon, scooter, fried chicken, garbage can, and handcuffs. Listen, I saw this and I said, this better not be real. I know this isn't real, because I was getting ready to wet the hair, let it dry into an afro, put on a black turtleneck with one black glove and a tam, and go out there and stand in front of Walmart and protest looking like Angela Davis. But it turns out that this particular doll is actually a meme that can be traced back to a Twitter profile called Old Meme Clown, which posts highly offensive, hate-filled memes. Look, all this tells me is that racist people have way too much time on their hands. Way too much time. They really need to get a life and a hobby outside of hating black people. I mean, for real. Go to a movie, get a membership to LA Fitness, take a cooking class or something. Because all this doll accomplishes is to tell me that the person who sat down at the computer and was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a doll on Photoshop with every racist stereotype that I can think of. That person has a very dreary, depressed, sad life, and honestly, I feel sorry for him. And besides from that, I don't have time to be thinking about racist memes when I have to go out and try to find me a pair of Air Force One January 6 Trump sneakers. Yo, I cannot believe that these cats really think that black people are gonna run out in droves and vote for Trump because he dropped a pair of gold-plated Converse sneakers with a flag and a T on them. I am done. Show of hands. How many black people do you think that we're going to see from now until like it's time to vote rocking the high top Trump January 6s? Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Now, peep this. Finally, after 22 years, a Brooklyn, New York jury found 2 men guilty for the murder of Jam Master Jay, aka Jason Mizell, which occurred in Queens, New York in 2002. During the trial, prosecutors alleged that Jam Master Jay's childhood friend Ronald Washington and his godson Carl Jordan Jr. murked Jam Master Jay in retaliation for a failed drug deal. The 2 hoodlums were found guilty on charges of murder while engaging in a narcotics trafficking conspiracy and also firearms-related murder. When discussing the verdict, Jam Master Jay's cousin said, "I feel like I was carrying a 2,000-pound weight on my shoulders, and when that verdict came today, it lifted off. The wounds can start to heal now." After the verdict came down, federal prosecutor Breon P. said, "It's no mystery why it took years to indict and arrest the defendants. Key witnesses were terrified that they would be retaliated against if they cooperated with law enforcement. Their strength and resolve in testifying in this trial were a triumph of right over wrong and courage over fear." You know something? Spare me with the BS. It should have never took 22 darn years to lock up these 2 thugs that murked Jam Master Jay. Not when there were like 953 billion witnesses in a darn studio. Look, we as a black community have got to do better, and we have to stop this culture of trying to protect cold-blooded killers, which means that these 2 ninjas should have been locked up 21 years and 364 days ago. And I don't even know what to say about the cops. 27 years to get Tupac's alleged murderer. 22 years to get Jam Master Jay's murderers. And Lord only knows how long it's gonna take for them to lock up whoever pow Biggie. But thinking about Biggie makes me think about Diddy. Alright, so as you probably already heard, the diddler has allegedly done it again, because the other day he was hit with another lawsuit, and I'm telling you, this lawsuit reads like an epic novel with illustrations and everything. In the complaint, Rodney Jones Jr., who did some production work for Diddy on his Love album, claims that not only did Diddy assault him, but that Diddy is over there doing the adult hokey pokey with everybody from Meek Mills to Usher. Now, I'm not going to read the full lawsuit word for word, but I will give you a brief synopsis. On Friday, Little Rod, whose real name is Rodney Jones, filed a lawsuit against Diddy alleging that P. Diddy repeatedly essayed him by fondling him and touching him where the sun don't shine. He also said that Diddy tried to groom him by exposing him to videos that showed men, including Stevie J, of doing it well with other dudes. He also alleges that Diddy put him in positions where other men and women like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Young Miami's cousin were able to assault him too. I mean, this dude said that Cuba Gooding Jr. couldn't keep his hands off him, and Young Miami's cousin cornered him in the bathroom and gave him some sloppy toppy before he pushed her off. Additionally, the lawsuit, which was filed by attorney Tyrone Blackburn, not only names Diddy as a defendant, but it also names his son Justin Dior Combs as a defendant too, in addition to a host of other folks who allegedly helped Diddy carry out his various nefarious crimes. Now, you may recognize Tyrone Blackburn's name because in the past, he also represented the woman who sued Nicki Minaj and Kenneth Petty for alleged SA, and he also represented 11 of the women who accused T.I. and Tiny of SA. Okay, so in a lawsuit, Rodney Jones alleges that most of the events where Diddy assaulted him occurred over a 1-year period from September 2022 to November of 2023, when he was working on Diddy's album. Rodney says that in order to complete the 9 songs that he produced for Diddy, he lived with Diddy for months at a time at his Los Angeles residence, in New York City, and in Miami, Florida. And he even went on vacation with Diddy on his massive yacht to the U.S. Virgin Islands. During the time that he spent with Diddy making love, Rodney Jones claims that he was able to secure hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of P. Diddy, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activities. Some of the crimes that Jones claims that he saw P. Diddy commit include RSA, the acquisition, use, and distribution of ecstasy, Tina Snow, GHB, ketamine, marijuana, and mushrooms, arms dealing, solicitation, and spiking the drinks of women, including women who didn't have 18 candles on their birthday cakes yet. Jones also asserts that he was present at Chalice Studios when P. Diddy and his son Justin took somebody into the bathroom named G and pow-powed him. But he says the cops didn't do anything about it because P. Diddy has a few of the cops in his back pocket. And I know this is a whole lot, but we're not done, because Jones also said when he used to be over at like P. Diddy's crib producing the tracks, Diddy used to make him come in the bathroom and sit there while he was naked. He also said that he once overheard Diddy talking about how he planned to manipulate his relationship with Bishop T.D. Jakes to help soften his image after he was accused of S.A.ing Cassie. He also said that P. Diddy used to send him out to the strip to like recruit dudes. And what he used to do is make him wear like a bad boy hat, because when all of the dudes saw the bad boy hat, they knew that P. Diddy was in town and it was time to come out and play. I mean, that baseball cap with the bad boy logo was like the bat signal.
What's her Halloween candy?
The Darkest Night doesn't do interviews. Thank you. I love you.
Oh yeah, it's starting to make more sense now. In one alleged incident from February of 2023, Jones claims that Diddy must have put some Diddy sauce in his drink, because he says that he woke up naked, dizzy, and confused in the bed with 2 sex workers and Diddy. Alright, so as far as this lawsuit is concerned, Jones is asking for damages for loss of past and future income, as well as mental anguish, humiliation, embarrassment, stress and anxiety, emotional pain and suffering, and emotional distress. And he is seeking punitive damages and the cost of bringing a lawsuit. In response to the lawsuit, a spokesperson for Diddy says that these allegations are bogus, and a spokesperson for Justin Combs says Justin Combs categorically denies these absurd allegations. They're all lies. This is a clear example of a desperate person taking desperate measures in hopes of a payday. There will be legal consequences for all defamatory statements made about the Combs family. Now, after the lawsuit dropped, Rodney Jones also dropped a video in which he's asking the public for some GoFundMe help to help him fund this lawsuit to fight Diddy. Check this out.
I apologize to anyone this video may be embarrassing to. Let's just jump right into it. Some of you may know me or may not. I'm a music producer who's a writer and musician. Different genres. I started in the gospel and jazz and R&B and worked my way over to the hip hop side. I've been working on an album. I took a year off straight working on this album. That album is the Love album, Off the Grid by Diddy. And it's Grammy nominated right now as we speak. I should be celebrating, but the truth is I'm not. Taking this album on has required so much time, months and at a time, 16 hours to 24 hours a day. Sometimes, Diddy will request certain works to be done and tell us don't go to sleep until it's done. And the truth is we'll be up for days trying to accomplish that. I've tried to get my business straight with them on this album, but the truth is they're not playing fair. They hit me on below the belt on so many situations, just dealing with this. It's the contract that they give me and the offer that they gave me was just disgusting. The producer fee, pennies, and on top of that, these guys are trying to steal my publishing. I can't go for that, so I'm fighting back. he's a fighter, but I'm gonna put in this fight. I gotta do it for myself, my rights, and most importantly, my kids. Taking my publishing or stealing it is just, I'm not gonna let that happen. Not gonna let that happen. Again, this is one of those projects that took so much time from me. I missed holidays with my family, just out working on this album. At what point I was running around with the hard drives, the computer, just to run the ball on this album, to finish the production on it, and make sure that this album came to, a good project with good vibes, just where it is right now. And just to be offered little to no participation in this is highly disrespectful. I won't be that guy 20, 30 years from now looking back saying, I wish I'd done this. I'm going to do this now. Doing this situation is not easy. Taking Puff to court, suing him is not easy. I don't have the monies that it's going to take to fight him in court. So I'm just asking, if you're in support, please. The link is in my bio to my GoFundMe. The money will go towards my attorney fees, and to just make sure I'm keeping my head above water during the process. I really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Alright, so as of today's date, Rodney's GoFundMe, which is entitled Help Me Sue Sean Diddy Combs, has raised $1,944 out of his $50,000 goal. Now, as always, I must remind you that P. Diddy is innocent until proven guilty. But if he is guilty, Diddy is one sick puppy. And with that being said, regardless of how this lawsuit pans out, whether it's true or not, I think that this particular lawsuit is going to be the one that brings Diddy's empire crashing all the way down to the ground. Not because all of the allegations are true, but because this time, Justin's name has been brought into it. And I think that Misa Hilton is eventually going to come out the cut and blow up Diddy's spot, because she already told him once, if you bring my son into your mess, I'm coming for that ASS. Look, how many months left do we have in 2024? Listen, let me know what you think about everybody's different opinions about Wendy Williams. And also, do you think that Dr. Umar is right when he says that Wendy does not have dementia? Also, let me know what you think about the sister doll, Jam Master Jay's murderers getting convicted, and P. Diddy getting accused for assault once again. Let me know in the comments. And while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to Celeb Source, your source for celebrity news. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Peace.